Hey everyone, Working Weston here. Since last year's gift guide video was such a massive success, I decided to give it another go. This time with a brand new list of new and improved gifts. That being said, last year's list is still relevant and the gift ideas are still great. So check that one out too. And check out how dead my face was. These are super cool and they're great for anybody that has a pet. They're like Legos, but they're way more tedious to put together. Each piece locks into the piece below it with a connecting rod that you have to turn 90 degrees. So that it locks in place and doesn't come apart. The quality's really high and the tolerances are super tight, so it makes a great display piece. Like I said, anybody who has a pet, there's a good chance you can find one that matches their pet, which they're gonna love. Who doesn't want their pet in Lego version? And they take long enough to put together that it's not a one and done. It should last them a few days throughout the winter. Once I realized that bending over was for suckers, I started wearing slides. But I got pretty particular about the style that I wear. So I've tried Crocs and full rubber ones, but my favorite pair is one that I found in the middle of the road when I was out on a walk. They're a little bit flatter on the bottom and the part that holds your foot down is flexible. And to me, this is key because it's a lot more comfortable when you're walking. It's not as restrictive and gives you a bit more freedom. If you know somebody who's still bending over, get them a pair of slides. I've drank a lot of beer out of a lot of different beer glasses. And I gotta say, this one is trendy for a reason. It is by far the best beer glass I've ever used. Regular beer glasses are thick, heavy, and they usually taper wider towards the top, making them really unbalanced and easy to knock over. This beer glass is small, straight up, thin, light, easy to grab, easy to hold, but really deceiving in the fact that it fits an entire tall boy in a glass. When you hold it side by side with a regular beer glass, it's crazy how it fits the same amount of beer in a way smaller package. By far the best beer glass I've ever used. So if you can get one of these beer glasses, buy it for your beer lover, but up your gift to the next level and pair it with a 6-pack of their favorite beer. Boom, you just won Christmas. Next gift is a cleaver, simple as that. There's a lot of knives out there, and I feel like there's not a lot of cleavers. I've been cooking for a while, and I had never used a cleaver. I thought a cleaver was just for meat or just for butchers. I didn't know you could use it for everything. So when cleaning out an apartment, I found this cleaver, sharpened it up, and it is my absolute favorite knife. I use it for everything. The blade is thick and tall, so that way when I'm cutting, my knuckles don't jam into the board. And since it's such a large blade, I can use it to scoop up veggies and transfer it into a bowl. It's crazy sharp and it cuts really nice. And I just find it safer to use than most other knives. I think you could pick them up pretty cheap. It's not like you have to go out and buy a $100 or $200 cleaver. Nothing says I love you like a cleaver. This next item kind of goes with the knife. Well, it definitely goes with the knife. It's called Speedy Sharp and it's a knife sharpener. Now we've all used those knife sharpeners that's like 2 cylinders or burrs and you slide the knife through it. And what happens is after about a year, they wear out and then your knife's just rubbing on plastic. Well, Speed Sharp is smaller, easier to use, and probably cheaper. And I feel like it sharpens a lot better. Instead of sanding the knife down, it actually peels off a layer of steel. I think it says it on the package, it says peel the steel or something like that. And I would argue that you can sharpen as good as a pro with this. So you can take that old butcher knife that you found in the apartment, hit it with the Speedy Sharp, and it's basically brand new. What I love about the Speedy Sharp is that I've had one for about 10 years and I've sharpened all sorts of stuff with it, from shovels to fish hooks to garden tools, and it just doesn't wear down. You buy it once, you buy it for life. And you might think that you're sharpening your knife with that metal rod. Actually, you're honing the blade, which is straightening it. It's not really sharpening it. Just get a Speedy Sharp. Buy one as a gift and buy one for yourself. I got my first pair of wool socks a couple years ago and then my second pair shortly after that. They're my go-to socks that I wear all winter. My old winter socks were really thick material and fairly warm, but they get really loose around the ankle and that shit drives me crazy. Plus, they seem to wear out after about a year. Wool socks, on the other hand, are really warm, breathable, and extra durable. And the thing that I love most is that it seems like the more I wash them, the tighter they get. I love tight socks. If you know somebody who's looking for a quality pair of socks, especially to wear through the winter, get them a pair of wool socks. If you wanted to go the extra mile with a gift, I think a recipe box is a great idea. And I've got a bunch of great recipes on my channel. But the idea is pretty simple. Let's take a less common, more complicated recipe like butter chicken. Well, a lot of these spices are uncommon and most people don't have them. So what you can do is collect all these spices, say you're the spice gatherer, package them up, supply it to your gift receiver with a recipe card. That way, all they have to do is supply the perishables like the chicken or the cream. Or if you wanted to go one step further, you could make the recipe if it freezes well, like I know for a fact this butter chicken does, and gift it to them frozen, pre-made with the recipe card. Or even further, if your recipe stores nicely in a dish, let's say lasagna, you buy a beautiful dish, fill it with delicious lasagna, supply the recipe, freeze it. Now you're just giving food, dishes. You got 1, 2, 3 gifts in there. It's like the best food Christmas ever. Getting into more of the tools, I know this isn't super exciting, but a caulking gun, and specifically this skeleton frame style caulking gun. Think about it, they could have called it anything, but they called it caulk. This style in particular, I think is the best for most people. It's the skeleton frame style, and there's a few reasons for that. First off, it has a spout cutter built into it, so you don't need a pair of scissors, and it also has a pin to puncture the tube built in as well. The skeleton frame lets you see what tube of caulking is in the gun and is easy to load and unload. Also, I find the trigger is a bit higher quality than the more cheap guns, and that allows you to apply an even bead of caulking much easier. And all I'm gonna say is that if you don't know how to use caulk, I think it's a skill that everybody could benefit from learning. It's really easy to do, and you can really make big improvements around your house with a tiny bit of effort and a small amount of money. This is another tool recommendation, and I had seen these around for a while, and it took me many years before I ended up buying one, but obviously don't regret it. Maybe you could buy one for someone too. It's called a contour gauge, and the idea is that it's a gauge that replicates the contour of something. You've probably seen it around in Facebook and TikTok videos where people are doing renovations. And if you're laying flooring, you can press it up against an irregular surface, and that surface is transferred onto the gauge, and then you could trace out your floor, and you could do all those really challenging cuts. Way easier than using a measuring tape like I did for way too long. The cuts are gonna be more accurate. This is great for, let's say this is a good dad gift. This is a good dad gift. Last gift idea is this moon lamp. This was actually my son's until he decided he was too old to have a light in his room, which was great because I had been admiring it, hoping that one day he would give it to me. Not hoping that he would give it to me, but I was just admiring it, okay? It's a great lamp. It's a 3D printed moon. Pretty realistic, I guess, as real as the moon looks in a small plastic ball. But what's nice about it is that it runs on battery, or you can plug it in and let it run 24/7. The light can be adjusted to be bright or dim, so I just leave it on as like a display night all day and all night. It barely uses any electricity, it's one tiny LED. Some of the newer versions, you can change colors and they run on remote. This one changes between cool white and a warm white. And everybody who comes over comments on it, on how neat it looks. I absolutely love it. It's inexpensive. It's a great lamp for kids, but adults seem to like it just as much. It's just a really cool lamp to have in your house, and I think it's awesome. And anybody who gets it probably would too. So go out and buy it for them, buy it for yourself at the same time. Moon lamp. There you have it, 10 more gift ideas. I hope you could use at least one of these, maybe 2 or 3. Put your favorite gift ideas below because this is just what I'm thinking of and I need more ideas for myself and to give people. Also like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and expect another gift idea video sitting in the same place at the same time next year, 10 new gift ideas. Peace!